Sonic Heroes is the best Sonic game ever. I cannot do this. Look, I heard that Sonic Heroes was bad, but I didn't believe it. I was just too excited at the idea of playing as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all at once. So I ordered the game off Amazon and booted up on PS2, wondering why this game was never ported to other consoles, or even Steam. However, as I played it, I realized exactly why it wasn't. Sonic Heroes isn't just a boring Sonic game, nor is it a promising one full of bugs. Instead, it is a torture chamber that I never want to play again. So, without any further ado, I suppose we should just dive straight in. I've been putting off this review because I just really didn't know what to say about it. I could just repeat, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, over and over, but that would be boring. So I guess the best way is just start from the top. When you boot it up, you find 4 campaigns: Hero, Dark, Rose, and Chaotix. It's 2 less campaigns than Sonic Adventure 1, but 2 more than Sonic Adventure 2, which sounds like a nice middle ground. However, it has as many characters as both the Adventure games combined, totaling 12 different characters. Okay, we'll get to those other campaigns later. For now, let's just jump right into Team Hero. First things first, this game feels awful. Sonic's movement has been edited and is far, far worse. Tails is always flying while holding both Sonic and Knuckles. I'm not sure if this actually does change his movement or anything, but it just feels off. His flight is also made far worse, barely being able to move in any direction without timing out. Knuckles has basically been stripped of everything he had. Wall climbs? Gone. Gliding? Gone. Okay, well, it's not gone, but it's so pointless you'll never want to use it unless it's required to progress, like with these giant ugly fans. These aren't all their moves though, because this game decides to give a much bigger focus on combat. It's so slow. Every enemy has a health bar requiring multiple hits, and some requiring a specific move to defeat it. Every stage has multiple areas for combat, all of which are boring and dragged out. Some moves are kind of fun, like Tails can just throw Sonic or Knuckles at the enemies, but that gets old immediately. But still, the game just makes you fight them over and over again. Like they will put a door in front of you that only opens if you defeat all the enemies, or put you on an elevator and just tell you to defeat the enemies on the elevator. It's repetitive, it's boring, and it halts all momentum. Even ignoring the game arbitrarily stopping you over and over for combat, just running isn't fun. As I've said already, none of the characters play well at all, but even if they did, the levels still wouldn't be fun. Like, let's just start out with Stage 1. It tries to teach you about the differences between the 3 main characters, but it swaps between them so quickly that I didn't even realize what was happening most of the time. Like, as I was still trying to get used to the character and learning what I could do, it would just switch and I'd have to learn it all over again. But then, as you're still trying to get used to them, the game just throws a random machine you have to push, completely changing your movement again, and it's not even fun. I don't even think you need to press a button to pass this section. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. But when things are actually normal, no tutorials, no weird machines, the game mostly cycles between 2 types of gameplay: combat, which exists, and pointlessly switching between characters. Yeah, because instead of switching to whatever character you want to beat each obstacle the way you want, instead, arbitrary character-specific obstacles are set in your path. I was hoping maybe this was set up like the classic games, where every character could get through every stage, but some are better at some stages than others. That way you can switch to make it easier, but it's all up to you. You can choose whatever you want, and if you choose the worst decision, that's fine, you can still beat the game. But instead, you see the exact same repeated obstacles, like, again, the giant fan, repeated over and over just to force you to switch. But instead of this fan, maybe it's these weird poles that Sonic can swing on, or platforms placed slightly too high that Tails needs to fly up to. And every time they're accompanied with a sign telling you exactly who to use. It's not fun, it's just repetition. This game really just feels unfinished, like a tech demo. Like, hey, check out our new concept. Yeah, it sucks, but we're still working on different ideas on how to use each character. It may be terrible now, but soon it... What's that? Oh, we're off schedule? We're out of time to work in the game? So the game's just gonna be sent out like this? Well then. This game also gets rid of a lot of creativity in the Sonic Adventure levels. Every level in those games looked different and was unique. Here though, they went back to the classic Sonic approach, more specifically Sonic CD. You have 2 acts in the same zone and then an act with a boss. Now this idea is fine, and it's kinda done in Sonic Adventure 2 where a lot of themes are repeated between both campaigns, so this could work in a better game, but because the gameplay isn't great, this repeated theming just makes it worse and looks just as repetitive as it feels to play. Like the boring gameplay could at least have looked interesting, but nope. The fights at the end of each zone aren't that great either. The first boss is okay, but really easy. Every boss after that though, well, it goes downhill really fast. Okay, well the second boss is fine. You fight Team Rose, which is kind of cool since the different teams are interacting, but I really had no idea how to defeat them. It was just death after death after death, trying to figure out what exactly to do, and I'm still not 100% sure. The third boss, however, is even worse. It's just waves of enemies, and that's it. It goes on for far too long, and it isn't fun. And if you die during any event, since it's so long, you have to start all the way over. The fourth boss, I didn't even get to. Yeah, I quit the game shortly after World 3, and honestly, I should have quit sooner. In fact, I did right after World 1. Since the second world was just so annoying, I quit. However, I forced myself to go back and play more for this video, and it didn't get better. World 2 isn't worth playing. It's worse than World 1. It has tons of combat. It's the world that featured these slow-moving enemy fighting elevators that suck. It even had some glitches that I encountered, which I can't show you because my stupid capture card wouldn't work on PS2. I even bought an RCA to HDMI converter so I could plug it into my capture card, but it just wouldn't work. I have no idea why. It wouldn't. Everything involving this game is just broken, apparently. Sega is broken. Sonic Heroes is broken. My capture card is broken. I am broken. These glitches are also amplifying another annoyance with this game. An annoyance I've had with the other Sonic games, but this one takes the cake for the worst. The live system. I died constantly throughout World 2 and kept having to play the entire world all over again. I hate this game. I spent hours in this one zone because the levels are so long and I kept starting over. World 3 isn't any better, and I also had to replay a lot of that too. World 3 is casino themed, which Sonic really likes apparently. However, the majority of the first act is pinball tables, which is already annoying, but they made it much worse when they decided to make the physics just not work. The pinball physics are awful, and I can barely control Sonic, and I wasn't even having the slightest bit of fun. I might have if I was with friends and I could laugh at the situation, but I wasn't. I was sitting in front of my TV, all alone, at 12 o'clock at night. I was miserable. Act 2 is a bit better since you're mostly rolling down the table instead of going up one, and I did enjoy the bingo idea of collecting numbers as you roll, but the annoying physics and stupid lives made the level far worse than it could have been. World 4 is where I stopped because it brings back rail grinding, which is cool, but there's a ton of bottomless pits, and I kept having to restart, so I had had enough. So to calm myself down, I decided I should check out another campaign. Maybe I could take a breather, or just a change in pace of the awful hero levels. Wait, what? Oh yeah, all 4 campaigns have essentially the exact same levels, the exact same terrible levels, and that's it. So maybe it's like classic Sonic, where different characters have different moves and play completely different. They're exactly the same. All of them. Okay, there's slight differences, but not really. Team Dark is harder and Team Rose is easier. Apparently, I didn't play them for long enough to tell. But neither of which I really wanted because, well, why would I? Why would I want the game that I'm already constantly dying on to be even harder? That would just suck even more. And Team Rose literally starts you off with a tutorial, even though I've already played Team Hero. Yeah, no, I'm not playing this. Team Chaotix is slightly more interesting since I found some unique abilities, and apparently this is the game's mission mode according to what I've heard online, but it's still the exact same levels with essentially the exact same moveset. I'm not doing this again. The most interesting thing about these other campaigns is dark mode because, well, why is Shadow here? Like Rouge returns from SA2 and Gamma returns from SA1. Wait. In SA1 you play as Gamma, while here you play as Omega. My bad. Completely different, identical robots. Shadow, however, should be dead according to the SA2 ending. The game addresses this by showing tons and tons of Shadow clones. What? Why? Why bring him back? Completely ruining the last game's story with this weird convoluted reason immediately after killing him. You could have just waited a couple games at the least. What's the point anymore? This game is terrible. The movement sucks, the combat sucks, the levels suck, the other campaigns suck, even the story sucks. I really wanted to like this game, but I just can't. It's a pile of hot garbage, and I'd take any of the problems I had with Sonic Adventure 2 over this game any day. At least that game was fundamentally fun. However, now that this game is finally done, I can finally move on to a better Sonic game. Okay, what's next? Well, that's not technically a Sonic game, so I guess I could skip it. Well, oh, yeah, I guess I'm not going to enjoy a Sonic game for a while. I should have sit through this now so I can finally get to Sonic Mania later. But with all that said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. It has been a while since I've played Sonic, and I want to play more. But not this, obviously. I've been really putting this video off. I played some of it, then I stopped. I was like, I'm gonna record it, so I waited till I get to record it, but then I never got around to recording it. And then when I did, I realized that it didn't work because the capture card wasn't working. So that's all out the window. So I was like, you know what, fine, I'll make the video. Who cares? So here it is. Hope you enjoyed it. Game sucks. Don't play it, please.